Senator Tuberville.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today and helping with this all-important farm bill that we're getting ready to attack. I guess that's the way we would call it. You know, as we heard during Tuesday's hearing, protecting the farm safety net is the top priority for commodity groups across the country. For this farm bill, crop insurance programs represent only 7% of the total $1.5 trillion package. We cannot have an effective and functional safety net without stabilized crop insurance coverage for our producers. It's not going to happen. Also, we must ensure our producers have access to capital and risk management tools to weather rising input costs and skyrocketing prices for farmland and equipment. Mr. Wagner and Mr. Morgan, I hear from Alabama poultry producers about the rising cost of poultry houses. 4 houses can cost up to $2.5 million or more. In your testimony, you mentioned the need to increase FSA guaranteed loans. What's appropriate level of FSA guaranteed loan limits?
Thank you, Senator. Farm Credit is asking for an increase up to $3.5 million for construction and up to $3 million for operating. In my statement, I indicated a similar example of what it takes for a poultry farmer to make $75,000. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the household median income for the last 2 years has been about $70,000. So for a poultry producer, they've got to go in and make a $3.3 million investment in order to achieve the same level of median income. An increase in the guarantee amount which is currently about a little over $2 million, would significantly cover the cost of those houses and be an entry point for so many young beginning and small farmers. If I could, in Mississippi and Louisiana, we have a concentration of integrators and poultry houses and great opportunity there. And that's just a really key item for us with this farm bill.
Thank you. Mr. Wagner, you got anything to add?
Just maybe quickly, broader perspective, when you have a construction loan and an operating loan and those two things combined, that limit still applies. And I think where we have young beginning farmers who may have some help on the land loan may not have that same help on the operating loan. And so that limit is real. And as the cost of inputs and the cost of land move up, as Senator Ertz indicated, you run into those limits really fast. So updating is important.
Thank you. Mr. Barker, thanks for wearing the appropriate blue and orange tie today, by the way. I was co-sponsor of ECOR last Congress and look forward to supporting ACRE this Congress. Mr. Barker, can you share with the committee how ACRE could allow community banks like yours to better serve rural communities in your market?
With the lower interest rate, with those interest income tax-free to the bank, we could pass that on to our borrowers. Any cost savings that we could provide those beginning farmers is essential. We can't control the input costs or anything else. The only thing we can control is the interest. And that is one way we could do that, by having that interest tax-free to the bank on the ag side of things. Also in my markets, my towns are all under 2,500 people, and the housing situation is very, very difficult there, and it would really benefit my folks who have very limited means of income in making a purchase and affording the houses rather than the double and triple interest rates they see now.
Thank you. Mr. Cole, Mr. Corn, or Mr. Metter, to any of you working in the crop insurance industry, as you know, half of the 14 approved insurance providers have parent companies that are owned by foreign entities. I know that some AIPs have subsidiaries in China. Do Chinese entities have significant ownership stakes in any AIPs or their parent companies?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll take that one, Senator. So RCIS, Rural Community Insurance Services, our parent company is Zurich. Zurich's a Swiss-based company in Zurich, Switzerland. Just a little bit of background on who Zurich is and what our role is with RCIS. So Zurich purchased RCIS in 2016. Prior to the purchase in 2016, Zurich was a reinsurance partner with RCIS going back to 1998, so providing capital to RCIS to be able to support crop insurance and American agriculture. And if I go back further, right, for Zurich in North America, Zurich's been doing business in North America going back to 1912, providing insurance for many things in supporting the United States, many infrastructure projects over time. So everything from the Hoover Dam, Chesapeake Bay Bridge, update to LaGuardia Airport, right? So there is a lot of capital that comes from Zurich globally to be able to support North America. From a business perspective, broadly globally, roughly 90% of Zurich's property and casualty business is in North America and Europe, right? So Western economies, when I look at the life business, there's not as much in North America, but it's more in Latin America, Asia Pacific's, only about 10% of the business or a little bit less. Major markets there are Australia and Japan. We don't do business in China. The one caveat to the China question, so we don't have subsidiaries in China, to answer your question very directly. The one caveat to China is we do support our companies that we insure that do multinational companies. If they have business in China, we carry our insurance through an international program to give them protection while they're doing business in China, but we don't do it directly in China. So
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tuberville. Senator Gillibrand.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Over the past few months, we have seen 3 of the 4 largest bank failures in American history. Quick action by regulators and the private sector have allowed for stabilization to a point, but it's clear that Congress must